Ahoy there, mouses! Today's episode is brought to you by old people doing extraordinary amazing things. Do-do-do-do! Okay, our first story comes from Rachel Weich. I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a German-sounding name, so I'm not sure. It could be Raquel Weich. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll go for it anyway. She's 93 years old. She's had a motor car for 48 years, and it's the same car she's had. That's just amazing. Bought in 1964, and it's still working now. I don't know of anyone who's a 93-year-old and is still driving, never mind still driving a car they bought in the 60s, and it's just fantastic. You can't get better economy than a car that you've had for ages. Because the majority of the pollution that comes from having a car is the creation of the car itself. So having a car for 48 years is probably the best economical thing in terms of the environment. So kudos to Mrs. Weich. That's fantastic. I'd love to have a car that lasted that long. The car that my partner and I use at the moment is, 11 years old. And it's got a few problems with it. We're trying to keep it running as long as we can, but it's probably going to expire within the next year or two, so we're not going to get to that point. But I'd love to have a car that just lasted and lasted, because to me, cars aren't the same as what a lot of other people seem to think they are. They're some sort of status symbol, or it looks good, therefore I am good, that kind of motivation. That's just not me. I want a car to get to somewhere so that I can do something and then get back. So it doesn't really matter what the car looks like, as long as it does its job. So congratulations to Mrs. Weich for doing that. That is fantastic. On to our next story. Now this story is about 80-year-old Helen Collins, who was flying in a plane with her husband, who was piloting the plane. I don't know why I'm driving it, who was piloting the plane. And he died, which is unfortunate. My heart goes out to her for that. He died while piloting the plane, so she had to take hold of the controls and bring the plane down safely. Now the plane was a Cessna, one of my favourite types of plane, in fact, Cessna light aircraft. It's reasonably simple to take off and land with on, and I love them for that. Because before I found out that I was actually ineligible to get a pilot's licence due to the fact that I've got bad eyesight, I wanted to learn to fly, and the Cessna was the type of plane that I wanted to fly in. So she took hold of this. She's had takeoff and landing lessons, but they were 30 years ago. So to put it in context, she was having lessons while I was learning to walk. That's the kind of time span we're talking about here. Despite all that, despite all of the odds, she took control of the plane and landed it safely. Despite the fact that she was under stress because A, the pilot's just died, and B, the pilot was a husband. That, to me, is amazing courage and amazing mental will to put everything aside just to be able to get the plane back on the ground. So my congratulations go out to Mrs. Collins for doing that so well. And this just goes to show that a lot of ageism that goes on in the world, saying, oh, you're old, so you can't be as good at X, Y, and Z as someone else younger, is completely untrue. Look at these two old people who've done amazing things, and I hope that we can all learn from their examples. So that's it from me today. Very short show. I just wanted to say kudos to some fantastic people. Until tomorrow, I've been Kirk-Robinson. You've been watching a video. Don't forget to be awesome.